Welcome in Clips and Dip, episode 140 or 141 here, depending on how you look at it. We did a little bit of a Clips and Double Dip last night on Clippers Talk with myself and Will Updike after a heartbreaking loss for the Clippers in Game 3, where they gave absolutely everything they had out there, considering they didn't have the 2-1-3 connection. But welcome in, everyone, to another episode of this Clips and Dip live YouTube series we've been doing recently. I'm Adam Oslin. We got Chuck Mockler. We got Will Updike. I think we're live. Are we not live, guys?
We're live. I just realized that I didn't change the title for this. So if you thought this was still about the Kawhi Leonard injury.
What's in the title? A title.
Who cares about the title?
It's about the details of the subjects we're going to get into eventually, including what to watch for in Game 3, what needs to go right for the Clippers. Could we do a little bit more of a recap, though, to start things off of what happened last night? Because as bad as the game was to lose, it was also
together.
Yeah, one of the more.
Like it was again. I think it did the same theme of the Suns don't really instill fear in the Clippers, which is great. The Clippers played with absolutely no fear, despite not having their top guys. 5-guard lineup. Better than 4 guards plus Marcus Morris. I just hope. I feel bad for Norm that we couldn't win. 40 points, probably his great. I mean, it's his greatest playoff performance ever. It probably will end up being his greatest playoff performance ever. I'm bummed for him we couldn't win. But I'm happy that we ran the Suns minutes up, right? Like they got to play at 12:32 tomorrow.
And not only did they, of course, not have Kawhi Leonard. We found out about that earlier in the day yesterday. Not have Paul George. But they were just in this uphill battle. So much of Clipper Nation postgame was talking about the officiating and the Suns getting 46 free throws. Right. And I don't want to belabor it too much. But, I think it's kind of fair game because they made the rules. It started with Monty Williams.
Attacking the rim. I'm getting explanations about we're taking too many jump shots, mid-range jump shots. We're playing a physical game. They had 27 free throws in the first half. They end up with 46. When do you see a game with 46 free throws?
When do you see a game with 46 free throws? Oh, in the playoffs in favor of the Phoenix Suns. That was audio from about a month ago when I think the Suns lost to the Lakers, who had a huge free throw advantage. And he was talking about them taking 46 free throws. When do you see a game with 46 free throws?
420. What else?
Yeah, the Suns apparently needed more in some ways, those shots, because the Clippers, I thought, for the most part, were outplaying them. I thought they played better as a team. They showed more heart. They showed more grit. And there's some stuff we've learned already in these playoffs, to me, that fly in the face of a lot of the things people were saying all season long. Number one, to me, Coach Lue is still a great playoff coach. He's still a great coach. I think if you switch coaches in this series, Suns are up 3-0, and the Clippers probably lose every game by double digits with the talent advantage that they have had.
Well, to be fair, it's 2-1, so it's not wild.
Two very winnable games, though, for the Clippers in games 2 and 3, despite the talent advantage that the Suns have had. Also, we heard all season long which Clippers team is going to show up, who's going to be there, why is anything going to change in the playoffs? Sure seems like something has changed. I was mocked for calling them possibly a flip-the-switch team. I don't know, guys. They're playing really hard for 48 minutes now. It's almost like the playoffs are a different animal.
But the issue, I think, with the flip-the-switch thing is, I believe Kawhi can do it because he's a champion who's done it. But with all these other guys, it was it would have been nice to see a little more effort during the regular season. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they weren't trying, but there's a very noticeable difference, which is there's a frustrating regular season from some effort standpoint. Sometimes.
Sure, but to extrapolate that and say there's no way this team could turn it around and play differently in the postseason, which is what most people were saying. Why would we expect anything different?
Right.
I don't know. It's because the playoffs are different. It's because they had an eye on the playoffs the entire time. And the Clippers have shown that they still have that heart and resilient nature that we saw in past seasons.
They want to have it.
When they need it.
When they need it. I think when they need it is the operative word. Because I don't know that it's a wanting it thing, but you're talking about a lot of guys here who have some pretty significant postseason experience. You're talking about an older team. And like, look, man, I'm not here to make excuses for how they performed during the regular season. It wasn't great. It was 82 games of not a lot of very fun basketball. But this is a different team. I talked about this with Adam after game 2. Like, this is not that same Clippers team that we saw 82 games of. And as frustrated as we can be about that for what happened, it's over now. It doesn't matter now. And what matters is that this team is consistently like giving it's just giving everything right now on the floor.
Totally.
And doing everything that they can. God bless them. As shorthanded as they are, as stacked as the deck appears to be, or at least appeared to be in that game 3 against them.
But
man, they're really making a go of it.
Absolutely. The effort is wonderful to see, and it's great, but like I don't know how many more we're giving so much good effort, but we're still losing. I got in me for ultimate hope, if that makes sense.
What do you mean, too?
Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I'm disappointed in the loss. I'm not disappointed with how the team played, though.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's the difference.
Didn't we stress process on this podcast all year long? What more could you have possibly gotten out of that process?
I don't think anyone was upset with how the team performed. Were people upset with how the Clippers played last night who were Clippers fans?
No, I'm just saying that level of frustration is a little bit softened for me because the team did everything they could, and it was just a talent advantage. They ran out of talent. They didn't run out of heart. They didn't run out of effort.
It was mostly more refs,
46 free throws and some ridiculous calls, including a take foul by Devin Booker, who raised his hand afterwards. The game was so lopsided in favor of the Phoenix Suns that even when they tried to foul, they wouldn't give it to him. That was just that was one of the toughest calls I've really ever seen. One of the toughest games.
Brutal.
I had a Laker fan telling me it looks like Kings Lakers 2002 right now. That's how bad it was last night.
I mean, the free throw disparity was insane. Like, and that's my biggest gripe with last night. Like, not having Paul George makes it so Devin Booker has a lot easier to time, which is shitty. But the refs, like, the refs and the turnovers, you can't win when the refs are playing like that. And some of the turnovers are a little brutal, but like, that's to be expected when we're running out guys who found out at shoot around that Kawhi wasn't going to be out there, which is.
I think those refs got an x-ray after. Had that dog in them.
Bro, the refs showed up, man.
I don't fault them for having 18 turnovers, to your point, when you don't know who's going to be on the floor with you, when there's going to be chemistry issues.
Hit Zoo in the head with a pass, which feels like
I think the first half, where I believe they had 12 turnovers in the first half, so only 6 in that second half, is
it was
remarkable progress for a team that found out at shoot around that their best player and the best player in the series so far would not be present. Like, I think that 12 turnovers is to be expected. I agree with like the Zoo in the head one. Zoo has not looked good these last 2 games.
I put a note in here if we want to start talking about game 4, because like, what is up with Zoo? Like, is he okay? Like, could we run? Lucas Hahn brought this up on Twitter. Could we run 4 guards plus Zoo if Zoo is feeling it tomorrow?
If
Instead
he's
of 4
feeling
guards
it,
plus Morris, because I'd feel a lot better about that, right?
To me, Ivica Zubac looks like a guy who's suffering from paralysis by analysis. Like, there's too much responsibility on his plate, and he's not being instinctual at all the last couple of games, just with his defensive responsibilities and coverages out there. That's what I'm seeing.
No, that's totally fair. Like, he's not hurt, but I think you're right. He's thinking a lot.
We could talk a little bit about the negatives in game 4, but before we end on this little segment, can we talk about Bones? Can we talk about how great Bones was?
He was great. He should have a huge part of the rotation next year. Like, he should maybe be starting for this team, depending what the guys.
I'm going to say, I got to give
those rules.
I got to give the biggest of shout outs to our boss, and not just because he's the head of the 2 and 3 Hoops Empire, but Lucas Hahn has been saying maybe Bones should be the starting point guard, and he certainly had a case last night there in Los Angeles, man.
If he can do it again tomorrow, that would be fantastic. Because
you think he's got another? You think he's got another 20-point game in him?
I don't know if it's going to be 20 points on 50% shooting, but if he can give us a glimpse into like maybe a more median Bones, right? Because the games before this, it was 1 for 6 and 2 for 7, and then he goes 6 for 12.
I will say, if tired legs do prevail, as you know, we'll talk about it in our Game 4 preview, but as you know, it's possible they might. I'm kind of liking Bones' odds in that type of a scenario.
Same.
Also, he started so rough. His first couple of free throw attempts, I like looked
when he
over
cleared out Chris Paul and was
I
got this.
I looked over at Charles and I was like, what is he doing? Like, has he always been this bad of a free throw shooter? And I somehow just never noticed it. But it was clearly nerves.
He was hyped.
And he tightened up a lot as the game went on. And I think the nerves thing has been a factor for Bones through first 2 games prior to last night as well. And maybe I just didn't give that enough credit. Just because, you know, of the acumen of you know, where he's spent the majority of his young career. But you know, this was both a playoff minutes high for him and a playoff scoring high. So I love Bones.
Shout out Bones, dude.
All right.
I love Bones.
We talked about it after the first 2 games. Even though
at my Olive Garden, he's getting free breadsticks just for walking in the door.
He was a plus the first 2 games, even while not shooting the basketball well. He was in those lineups that made runs. Yeah. It is. No, but I'm saying, and then you get the shooting in game 3. If he could carry over that performance and some of that confidence, you know, if that 3 rattled home that looked to just go in and out, the top would have blew off Crypto.com.
As I feel like a bucket can go and still come out.
It was like that AD basket that he almost hit to beat the Clippers a couple years ago. Remember that one that rolled around? No, Bones, I don't think he'll lack the confidence at all tomorrow. I think we're good there. But yeah, man, if we can get another one from him like that,
this is what Coach Lue was chasing. This is what Coach Lue was looking for. People will question after the first 2 games, should Bones still be playing in this series?
Yeah.
Well, you keep a guy out there, you keep him involved, and eventually you could get that Bones Highland game. Unfortunately, they still lost for some reasons that were outside of their control. But I got to give it to the Clippers. And look, Russell Westbrook. This was one other point I was going to make about things that change now that we've seen this playoff series unfold. How many people are going to keep saying, oh, they were 10-4, they shouldn't have brought in Russell Westbrook right before the All-Star break? How much longer can you say that after what we've seen from him now as a Clipper and in this playoff series specifically?
I mean, it's been great. He's been as good as he's maybe ever been for a team. So, we need, and I hate to say it, we need it again tomorrow at 12:30, right? It's brutal. His responsibility has skyrocketed, and he's been able to handle it, which has been awesome. I just wish he didn't have as much responsibility for his sake and the team, you know, in a nice way.
Well, and I think part of that, and part of my own sort of reason why I was critical about it, which, you know, I'll eat crow here. I was wrong. Russ has been net neutral to positive, definitely force for the Clippers, and more positive, certainly since Kawhi and Paul George have been down. But working under the assumption that this team was still something else, you know, that it was still this Wingstop identity, that it was still this team.
What we were told it was going to be.
Primarily, the offense was going to be initiated through forwards. The move still didn't make a whole lot of sense. But now that is not the case, and certainly with, you know, now all of the 2-1-3 out, I mean, you know, we don't even have a fighting chance in this one, you know, in that scenario without Russ.
And I know the box score says 6 turnovers. Well, one of those was the play with Devin Booker intentionally fouling him, which would have gave him 2 shots and the ball late. That was the only turnover he had in the second half.
Yeah.
And it was a play that was a take foul. He was outstanding. So really it should be 12-5 assist to turnover ratio. Look at the way he started the game. He ripped it from Kevin Durant, got it to Norman Powell, who gets an easy one, which probably got him going, which snowballed for him offensively in a good way.
He was 2 boards away from a 30-point triple-double?
Yeah. Russ was unbelievable. His defensive intensity and the energy he plays with has been very much infectious so far. He's filling some of what I think they lost without having Patrick Beverley, you know, over the last year and a half.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. He's bringing those vibes that we've needed. Someone in the comments just said, it's crazy to me that PG and Kawhi are not playing in the playoffs and somehow the vibes are not abysmal. A huge part of that is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
And that was what was so weird too. Even if you were against it from a basketball perspective, the whole stuff about him being a locker room vampire was insane. Like even the biggest Russ detractors were like, I don't know about that. Like that doesn't make any sense. So,
And
you talked about tired legs tomorrow. I hope they put Russ in some kind of fast recovery chamber, because if he's shot out of a cannon again, I like our chances to really fluster the Suns.
Yeah. So let's look ahead now to Saturday. I mean, a mere 20 hours from now. I don't know. I'm not good at time. Maybe 19 hours. Tip-off isn't pending. There's less than a day. Looking ahead, where are you guys at on Kawhi?
I don't know. We got some funny news today from Ohm that Ty Lue has a game plan with and without Kawhi for tomorrow at 12:30. So I don't think they know right now. I would lean towards him probably not playing.
I don't know if he is going to play, but I'm going to say I'm feeling better just knowing he does have a game plan if Kawhi plays. It's not totally off the table.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not preparing solely as if he's not going to be there. One thing that we haven't really talked about is I know that, publicly the franchise and coaching staff and everything, and I'm not blaming them. It's, kind of their job, but they've been a little bit coy about this knee sprain as compared to the Paul George one. Kawhi was never on crutches. He was still walking around as of yesterday and did play another game on it. So once again, I talked about this, Charles, with Adam. It's like hard for me to gauge whether that's better or worse that he played another game on it. You know what I mean? Is the risk of further aggravation worse, or is it or is it an encouraging sign that the mobility was still good enough that even like with a little bit of soreness or whatever, he was still able to do what he did? The Kawhi thing is a big question mark. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think that we see him in this one. I still think, though, that Kawhi Game 5, after a little bit more rest, is
2 extra days. Yeah, we get the 2 extra days.
Is a possibility.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll know.
I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah, the injury report today will be interesting, right? Half of me expects the Clippers to mark him as questionable, just because that's kind of their MO sometimes with this kind of thing. So if he's questionable, sign me up for a Game 5 return. Maybe keep him out tomorrow.
Does it matter, though, whether or not the series is 3-1 or 2-2? If it's 3-1, are you going to push to bring Kawhi back for Game 5?
If he's ready to go, absolutely.
Man. If he's ready, sure, but I'm not going to be like, no matter
what. He's 51%. Why not? Seriously, why not? From what you've seen so far, from how beatable this Suns team,
it's not if we can win. It's like I guess I'm just scarred because I don't want to put him in there. He loses the rhythm. We bring him back in, and the thing. And then
I say, what's the? I say, what's? I mean, like,
I just said I'd be worried he just gets hurt. Like that's my only worry.
We're talking 51% though.
That's not enough for me. I know Adam is the 51% bookie, but that's not me.
It's not me in this situation either. Load management has taken a lot of incoming over the years, but recently, of course, with the Clippers, with both of their stars being out for the playoffs, where you try during the regular season to baby them and handle them with kid gloves enough to get to this point so then they can play heavy minutes in the playoffs. But I would just say this. It's one thing for a guy to get hurt in a 1 of 82 regular season game. It's another for a guy to get hurt when they really matter in the playoffs. I think there's a distinction there. There's a difference. And some people are saying, well, you can get hurt at any time. What's the point? Yeah, but if you get hurt against the Orlando Magic in a game during the regular season where somebody didn't need to play, and let's say it's a back-to-back or something like that, it doesn't look as bad as getting hurt when the stakes are as high as they are in the playoffs. There is a difference.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I agree with you. My thing is just like,
you want to win. I get what you're saying. Like, we have a chance to beat this team. We have a chance to beat this team with just Kawhi. So, I get that totally. I'm just saying, if it's 3-1 Suns, right, and you're back in Phoenix, Kawhi is ready to go, and the medical staff is 51% confident that he is not going to get re-injured. Honestly, what are you waiting for?
Like, and maybe that's the wrong thing to say. Obviously, I'm, like, if he has questions about it or something, then no. The answer is no. But if he thinks he's ready to come back, medical staff is more confident than
if Kawhi says
that
he's
ready, good to go, then like, what are you waiting for?
Well, so you're basically saying if he's fully cleared to go by everybody, should he go? Then yeah. But like the medical staff, what's been so frustrating is that Kawhi does want to play. Like Ty Lue was talking about it. Like he was like, he's frustrated for Kawhi, feels bad for him, like that kind of thing. So like, I don't know. I'm not like, I totally get the logic. I'm just a Clippers fan who would be terrified to see him out there if the medical staff was like, he's at 51%.
If I'm a Suns fan, I'm terrified to see him out there. It's over.
Oh yeah, if I'm a Suns fan, I'm terrified for everything.
Oh, they are extremely vulnerable right now. That's another thing we learned about this series. This matchup against the Suns is infinitely better for the Clippers than taking on the Sacramento Kings. There's no debate about that anymore. This route looks much more favorable. Granted, the bad luck with the injuries going on with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, that hurts tremendously, of course. But there's something to what Will's saying there of what are you waiting for? The entire point
short right now
is to win now in the playoffs when you have an opportunity to. So if there's a time where you are going to push things and risk things, I would think it would be during a playoff series like this. The question is, how much are you willing to risk things? What's that percentage chance at if he re-aggravates the ACL then because the knee's already weakened? That's what you can't have.
What if it's
49%, Adam?
Will, what if it's 2-2 and he's at 51%? Or the medical staff?
Go!
So you're saying go no matter what?
Like, look, man, unless the risk of injury is more likely than not. I mean, I have to be honest. I just feel like this is the last chance. This is the last
I agree with that.
rodeo. And I'm not even saying that that's, how the front office feels or how other people feel, or maybe that's even too knee-jerky of a reaction. But man, at some point you got to go. You got to go all in.
I would expect nothing less from Blow It Up Deck. Okay, but what does 51% means? He's only.
Can we stop talking about these percentages and talk about the game that's happening?
All right. We got a couple of questions on the live.
What does it all mean?
Like,
that I do want to
talk about
address
the basketball game that's gonna be played.
Because the Kawhi thing, we won't spend any more time on this because he still might not even play. But we got a couple of great questions on the stream that I do want to address. Looking ahead to Game 4, your boy Greg said Nico still gave us nothing on the scoring board. What's it going to take for him to get going? Also, who do you still keep in the starting lineup, or do you put someone else in his place?
What if we go Terrence in for Nico?
So you're going Russ, Norm, Terrence,
EJ,
Gordon. Oh, it's small ball plus
Gordon Zoo.
Yeah. Ty Lue's not going to do that.
As the Olive Garden branch manager, I approve.
Yeah, like Ty's going to do that, I feel like.
I was watching Nico closely last night because he only took one shot. Where's his confidence level at? Defensively, though, he's still so damn good at times.
Yeah,
he had the block on DeAndre Ayton at the rim. I watched him lock up Kevin Durant for a possession who was trying to isolate and thought he could take Nico off the dribble. He couldn't. He's still so valuable regardless of what he's shooting out there. What I would do, though,
work on those inbounds, buddy.
The inbounds play was that was like the only play of the series so far where I'd say, okay, Clippers effort, not the best right there. That was more regular season style.
Yeah,
and when they gave up those 3 straight 3-pointers, and that was the last one to Devin Booker. I think it was CP3 before that and KD before that. But that was a big momentum swing. But then the Clippers took it right back. But my point is with Nico, get him an easy one on a backdoor cut. He's good at getting to the basket like that. Just let him see the ball, go through the hoop, and see if he can catch a rhythm just by an easy layup like that.
It's hard to get him the space, though, with Russ out there. I think to get him anything other than a stationary shot, I think it's going to be difficult. And we'll see. Like I think the ball movement, I'm curious to see what it looks like on less rest than we've had in what has already been a very abbreviated playoff schedule.
What if we swap Man for Gordon?
EG's been very streaky and up and down. I know that's Will's
defensively,
guy,
though. I feel like he's been sound.
He's been good.
Great possessions on Durant.
He has.
For sure. But, I don't know. I just wonder if Ty's got something different. I want to know what the 2 game plans are, basically.
I'm not that worried, though, about who's starting still with this team. They ended the game with that small ball lineup to make that run, and it worked. It worked. They had it to within 3. You have to acknowledge that worked, and that was Coach Lue and his plan.
It worked with DeAndre and Kevin Durant, and like it worked with everyone on the Suns on the floor.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was it Craig or Okogie that they ended up closing with?
It was Craig who hit a big 3-pointer late and has been very good from 3 in this series. Those corner threes from him. So first 3 games, he's 8 of 11 on corner threes. The rest of the Clippers and Phoenix Suns are 7 for 32 combined, and he's 8 for freaking 11. He has been a killer. He's backed up some of his talk. Yeah. But I don't know how far you can go with the small ball. Like in that situation, to me,
I mean, this was a throw. This was a down 13 in the 4th quarter. None of our stars are here. Let's do it, and it worked.
And the bigs weren't playing good. Yeah. The bigs didn't play well. So if you're not getting stops already, you might as well try to lean into offense.
What's up? Okay, so what's up with Morris? He cannot.
He stinks.
He's bad. I don't know what's up with that. Like, he's going to get run. Rocco was also not very good last night. Which
I feel like Adam is hiding because he wants to say something positive.
Rocco played 3 minutes.
I know, but Ty Lue didn't like those 3 minutes, which is like, that means he's banished, which is bad.
I did see him.
Rocco also stinks. I'm
sorry, he doesn't.
Guys. He stinks.
There's a difference between him being the savior that some people think he could be for this team, which I think is outlandish and ridiculous, or just being a better option. And I think he is a better option than some of the stuff that they've done this season.
Yeah, I mean, if Marcus Morris didn't bank in that 3 buzzer beater, he would have been destroyed.
Well, I remember, I think I was talking about this. I was talking about this with Chuck post game. Like, I feel like Marcus Morris got a little bit of grace defensively initially from some of the from some of the Suns offense that just weren't directly attacking him, and then Devin Booker drove at him baseline. And it was like, it was an easy trip to the rim. And I think everyone was like, oh yeah, this guy's a traffic cone. And it got a lot when out there Morris.
Yeah. So that's why the 5-guard lineup worked and 4 guards plus Marcus didn't. Yeah, I don't know. There was an interesting Nekias Duncan put out like a whole thread on Suns versus Clippers, which everyone should go watch. We were talking about Zoo a little bit. They've kind of figured out this thing where Zoo was on Craig on the perimeter, and then Craig brings Zoo into the paint, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine. But then he hands off to Durant after a screen, and then Durant gets Zoo on him, which is not ideal. So I'm wondering if the Suns will spam that more to start the game. Because again, if they put Zoo in foul trouble, that's a little rough. For like an early start.
Guys, it's honestly shocking how beatable the Suns look right now. I thought it was a decent matchup heading into the series. KD clanked 2 off the side of the backboard in the 4th quarter. Chris Paul, who's like a 90% free throw shooter for his career, missed 2 straight free throws. They looked rattled in downtown Los Angeles with that crowd with the Clippers and the energy they brought. Like this team, even without Kawhi Leonard, even without Paul George, if they're both missing for Game 4, the Clippers can still beat this Phoenix Suns team. They really can.
Definitely. I hope we need what's tough is we need kind of almost everything that happened last night, except for the reffing, to happen again. And that's I'm hoping true. Norm was, I know I said it up top, but God damn, he was if you missed the Norm Powell performance last night, please watch it on YouTube somehow. But that was phenomenal. I hope he's got the legs in him. Like, I wish so bad this game wasn't at 12:30. It's so stupid. But we've been running their minutes up. KD and Book and CP3 are playing so many minutes right now.
I saw Lucas Hand put this out there, but Devin Booker has played more minutes than anyone in the playoffs so far, and Kevin Durant is 2nd. And then Chris Paul, I think, is 5th.
Looks like probably top 5.
The distance between the top 2 and Booker and KD and the next couple of guys is pretty drastic. They could start to really run out of gas.
All that to beat 5 little guards.
You got all the Kingsmen, huh? Yeah, let's get a quick ad break in, and then we're gonna come back and talk about I don't know, game 4 more and why Mason Plumlee has been bad. But we got ads coming up, so if they've been loud for you, turn it down. Ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in Clips and Dip, episode 140 or 141. We're not sure. We got the YouTube live for you guys. This will also be podcasted later, hence us taking a break awkwardly during a live, but we're still with you. You can send us questions here. Yeah, you mentioned the big men going out. I honestly feel like the last 2 games, Plumlee's been better than Ivica Zubac. Now, maybe
Plumlee
not
got
by a
outplayed
huge
by
margin.
Bismack Biyombo last game.
Bismack, I mean, he was good, no doubt.
He was plus 18 in 11
He was on
minutes,
Kawhi in game 2.
Yeah, no, Plumlee, it's just like we're not grabbing rebounds when Plumlee's on the floor. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just want him to play better than Bismack Biyombo, I guess, would be what I really hope for. But again, I'm not sure the alternative. This is what's so tough. The margins are so tight right now because we don't have, the best basketball player in the world.
Zoo has to be better. Forget
Agreed.
Mason Plumlee. Yeah. This is about Ivica Zubac the last 2 games, overthinking things. That's what it looks like out there on the court. You can see the wheels turning. He has to play just more aggressive, instinctual basketball because I counted this. Almost half of their 18 turnovers in that ball game, and most of them in the first half, were them trying to force the ball into Ivica Zubac. Yeah. Literally. Almost half of those turnovers came with them trying to get Zoo going and them knocking the basketball off his head one time. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very good, and some of those passes weren't great either. But like that connection and that lack of chemistry out there was just so noticeable. But also, it just looks like he's not sure where he needs to be defensively or offensively the last 2 games, and that's a little bit alarming and surprising.
It's weird, and I know I mentioned that 4-guard plus Zoo lineup, but now that you mentioned that defensive thing, that might be a goddamn nightmare because then we get into that thing where, maybe Zoo's doing the right thing, but he's not getting help on the backside. So it looks like Zoo blew something and he tries to overcompensate because I can't imagine. Well, I take that back. I'm sure Tyler's maybe run some 4 guards with Zoo in practice before, but I just don't know if it's playoff ready. Like 5 guards, they can just be insane and run around. But I think Zoo would have a tough time with that. If he were the 5 for that.
If he was playing well right now, if he seemed to be in a rhythm and there was a little bit of continuity, but we've talked about guys that they have to have go off like Norman Powell did. We talked about it after the first 2 games. If Norman Powell doesn't start playing better, look, there's not much you can do. You're going to lose the series. You have to play him. You have to play Ivica Zubac. Those are just 2 guys that are critical to the Clippers' success, and they have to perform and be better. You have to ride or die with them. They only have so many options right now.
Yeah, man. The margins they're thin, I would say.
And I still worry about a KD game coming, by the way.
So that's what I wanted it. So
but doesn't that come at the cost of a Booker game? Because he's clearly been like the favorite and the volume guy on offense.
Because no one's there to stop him. No PG. Even with Kawhi, no PG means that it's just like Book has a lot more room because we're focusing on KD. But yeah, do they split that difference? That's a good point, Will. Like, do they just because we tried to double Durant and he's so damn tall that he was just like, no, thank you. But I think you're right. I wonder if that does sacrifice.
Because, like, other than, going 1 of 3 from 3, I don't like Kevin Durant has been efficient the whole time. It's just the number of shots. He's kind of been around this 15 number. And yet, while you worry about him going off, ultimately, those shots still have to come from somewhere. So I would assume that means Devin Booker not taking 29. So it's just, it's a little bit of a balancing act. It's not like just because of the shots that he gets, it's not like they can say, okay, Torrey Craig, you just take less shots now.
Well, the difference could be, though, instead of one guy doing the majority of the scoring, they could just both combine for the 73 points. One guy has 35, the other guy has 38 or something like that. There's just a little bit more balance. And by the way, since I'm out on the outs with Shane Young now, I guess, for calling that first game not a steal by the Clippers because they outplayed them for the most part.
We would have stolen the game last night. That would have been a fantastic heist had we gotten that win.
Either of the last 2, I would have said yes, qualify as steals. but game 1, no. And he posted on Twitter, and I don't know if he's a reporter for the Suns now or what his role is. He writes for Forbes, but it seems like all his coverage is on the Phoenix side. I don't know how else to put it. And he posted, look at Devin Booker and Kevin Durant combining for 73 points. And somebody underneath it's like, look at Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell combined for 72 points. Like, I don't think Phoenix should be feeling that great right now.
No,
with the way they have played, nor should the reporting be slanted towards, oh, look at the Suns and how unstoppable they can look out there.
I was talking with a buddy who's a Suns fan.
Look at Bones Highland and Marcus Morris combined for 25, buddy. How about that?
Realize. I think that's the thesis here. I was talking to a Suns buddy, and he's like, dude, I don't know what the hell we're going to do if we get past the series. We have to play Denver. We don't look – there's a bunch of standing around on the Suns offense when KD has the ball, which, sure, I guess that makes sense. But, no, this Clippers team is showing how to beat the Suns, and that's 5-guard lineups. I do have a Suns buddy. He's from my old job. He's a chill guy. Yeah, I don't know. We're due for a cool-off game at some point.
Are the 5-guy lineups, though, really that sustainable? It was a necessary thing. It worked, but Phoenix will be more prepared for it the next time out.
I totally agree. And I
48 minutes, same results.
Yeah, Russ takes the jump
That's
ball.
how stats work, baby.
What if we just start cherry picking? What if we run 5 guards and just start cherry picking egregiously? No, I think we'll see 4 guard. I mean, we're definitely going to see 4 guards again.
Oh, it's on the blue.
I don't know if we'll see 5 unless we find ourselves in the exact same scenario as last night, which isn't impossible, right?
It's certainly not impossible.
To be down on the 4th to the Suns team. Yeah.
I did predict what was the wild outlier move segment we did that Coach Lou could go to in this series.
Yeah.
And I was like, Terrence Mann at the 5. Well, it didn't take too long to get to that.
16 hours away from seeing that for the most part. I think we should give a shout out to the crowd last night too at the stadium. They were phenomenal. Shout out to everyone who went. The energy was palpable, and like Adam said, man, if that Bones 3 would have fallen, that would have been a very loud Crypto Camarena. I'm hoping the 12:30 crowd can match that energy. I have no qualms with people getting there late because it is Los Angeles, and 12:30 on a Saturday is crazy. But
I do not get there late. Do not get there late. This game is far too important.
We need it. Yeah, I wish. Part of me wishes the Clippers hadn't just recycled last year's playoff gear, so there's maybe some cooler incentives to give people. But whoever's going to be there on time, be loud, get ready. What are we looking for player of the game? I'm not doing. We can't do surprise performer of the night because all of the people who would be surprises are now
blew everyone out of the water with my last prediction and Norman Powell. Yeah,
I think it's because everyone who would be
you guys are refs officiating the Suns
is now
keep me down,
thrust into an actual role. So who's the player of the game tomorrow? Will Updike.
Terrence Mann. I think he's done a lot good. Obviously, there's a reason that he's been on the floor. We thought his minutes would dip, and they did a little bit at points yesterday with no Kawhi, which was certainly a surprise.
8 points in the first half, 18 in the second. I think Terrence Mann is due for a great offensive game as well.
That corner 3 he made that got the crowd to erupt had shades of Game 6 Clippers versus Utah Jazz from a couple of years ago. I felt it for a second. When Terrence Mann made that shot, I just want him to take more. He has to be more aggressive.
Well, that's the thing too, is the volume has been low. So it obviously this is going to be dependent on that. But I think Terrence Mann is due for a 20-point plus performance.
A hot streak. Yeah.
And he has been good against the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, his best game of the season, one of the best games of the regular season career for him, came against Phoenix, and he has wrecked CP3 at times in this series. It's not just Bones going at him.
CP3
it's Terrence Mann.
Hates being picked up by Terrence Mann. Hates
it.
Literally. I want to see Terrence give him a literal rock the baby. So who are you picking Adam.
Okay, this may be a little bit controversial, but I've watched too many playoff series in my lifetime, and I've seen this game being played many times before.
You've
And
seen every possible outcome.
I am Doctor Strange. I've seen coaches campaign for calls after a game like this, and I think the Clippers are going to end up getting some calls in Game 4 go their way. It's just natural. It happens all the time in a 7-game series. One team feels like they get a bad whistle. Coach Lou started his press conference saying the difference was free throws, and Devin Booker, it looked like he was controlling himself and muzzling himself from being fined at the very end of the post-game press conference. By the way, I think we'd all pitch in and start a Kickstarter.
For Devin Booker?
No, for Coach Lou if he got a fine calling out the refs last night.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, maybe not. He's a lot wealthier than I am. I think he can cover it. But
I think the Clippers, though, they are going to get a more friendly whistle. You're not going to see, I mean, when do you see a team get 46 free throws in a game? I don't think you're going to see it again. That's my point, though. Monty Williams campaigned for it. They got it. They got a better whistle the rest of the season. The Lakers campaigned for it after what happened in Boston with Jason Tatum and the non-call on LeBron
Did
James.
the crowd not campaign well enough? Those were some of the best ref you sucks chants I've heard.
Yeah, shout out to the crowd for those. Those were unifying.
Unfortunately, bitching works in the NBA. When it comes to complaining about calls, if you don't, they may not notice the fact that they were that bad in Game 3.
We need a Zoo tantrum. We need Zoo to just do the LeBron falling to his knees, smashing the floor for not getting calls. I'm gonna pick. Your boy Greg said it in the comments. He said Nico is the ultimate surprise at this point. I'm going Nick Batum. I'm going Nick Batum. He's going to bring the same thing that he's been bringing on defense, but he's going to make 3 threes is what's going to happen. And what's not going to happen is people are hopefully not going to go on Twitter and at his wife and try and make her life terrible because that's insane. But Nico's going to do his thing. Olive Garden branch manager Will is telling me 7 threes from the back. Excuse me. So I think Nico's got it. And okay, so who's going to score more than 30? Because someone's got to score more than 30. Is it going to be Russ?
It's going to be.
Well, I saw that. I think Norm needs 30. I think needs close to 30. He's capable. I mean, every time he
Russ
got the
and
ball,
Norm combining for 60.
The guy sleepwalks into 20.
Russ and Norm combining for 60. That's the first thing that needs to happen for the Clippers to win, I think.
Yeah. And, you never know who could show up
with
in a game.
Kawhi, also, assuming he doesn't play.
There was this quote that also came out from earlier today from Joey Lynn asking Coach Lou about what made him go away from Rocco after just 4 minutes in Game 3. Coach Lou said, "We'll see tomorrow."
Wow.
Ominous.
I mean,
Whoa.
I don't want to get you too excited, Chuck, but
whoa. Yeah, that's man, I'm hyped up off that. Good stuff.
All right, should we end this one on a fun question from you, boy Greg?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, your boy Greg said, fun question for the pod. Adam would make a great Doctor Strange. What Marvel character should you guys be as a trio? Will and Chuck, ?
I think I got to go. I don't know. Will, what do you think? What would you pick for me? Adam, how about you pick? You're Doctor Strange. You've seen all the outcomes.
how much elasticity do you have in your pants? Like if you go full Chuck Hulk, will those sweatpants stretch out?
I'm wearing jeans, but I think Hulk makes sense. I think that's a fair comparison. But I think that's fair.
Because I mean, you get worked up sometimes.
I do. Hey,
that's the secret. I'm mad all the time.
Yeah, literally, exactly. All right. So who's Will?
Will in this case, I mean, they're about to get the X-Men in the Marvel Disney universe, right?
Sure.
Can Will be Beast? He's got the glasses on.
That's pretty clutch.
I am the film adaptation of Morbius.
Great movie.
I think we're getting our asses kicked. If we got Morbius at the 3, Hulk at the 2, and then Strange at the 1. All right. So what do we got? We got a double dip tomorrow after the game. Adam, you'll be on pre and post game, of course.
Chuck will be on the post game unless the Clippers win.
Yeah.
That's how well they played last night. Even though they lost, Will was still like,
I said
you know
that.
what?
I said that when I tweeted it out. It wasn't technically a victory.
Oh,
but-
someone on YouTube said Ty Lue said it's Morbin time. So we're doing a double dip after the game, potentially a full post game pod. We'll see where the vibes are at. But we're for sure doing a full tripod on Monday for everybody, so we can preview the ever important game 5. Adam, Will, where can people review us? They're watching us on YouTube right now. Shout out to everyone who's watching us.
So you can review us over on Spotify or iTunes. Got a shout out from Starman HOV about the video on Spotify. It's something we'll look into currently where we host our podcast. It doesn't support Spotify video. It's a whole long thing. Anyways, you can review us on either iTunes or Spotify.
Will.
You can listen to us on either one of those platforms. We're also on Google Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. We're on Deezer. We're on Amazon Music. Basically, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the show. If you somehow get podcasts in some different way that we don't know about yet, let us know. We like to learn new things, kind of sometimes. You can also check out this podcast over on YouTube. That's at Clippers Podcast. And please, we'd love to know what you think, what you're up to. Hit us up over at Clippers Pod on Twitter. No check, all vibes.
Yeah, no blue check. We're not paying for that unless you want to pay for it, in which case we will gladly take the blue check.
It's $8 a month, and we will definitely use it for the blue check and nothing else.
Not too loose beers. Here's to a clean injury report for the Clippers. Should be out around 5 p.m. today. And Adam, I hope you've seen only the good outcomes for the brunch battle tomorrow in downtown Los Angeles.
I'm seeing the Clippers getting some calls tomorrow. Maybe they'll get the Lakers 2002 Game 6 fortunate calls where you get 27 free throws in a fourth quarter somewhere in there. I don't know. They're going to balance things out. It always balances out, right? In a 7-game series, even though that's totally not true.
Yeah, we're going to be fine. So everyone come loud tomorrow. We'll all be at the stadium. If you see us, say what's up. Someone saw Will and I and said what's up, but didn't introduce themselves. So I hope that person is doing well. And yeah, hey, we'll be back and talking to y'all on Saturday, and let's go Clips.
Let's go Clips.